What's up, everybody? It seems like the unofficial trading season of the NFL has commenced, and it seems like if there is ever going to be a year where some big names are going to be dealt, this would be it. And as a matter of fact, you could actually say, because there's a buzz that's building. I don't know if you've ever been to Las Vegas for March Madness. There is a buzz, like right when you hit the airport and you're getting off a plane with 300 semi-buzzed or super buzzed guys heading to the queue to go pick up a Lyft or Uber, or the smart people now go to the taxis. There used to be a time when the taxi line was the most egregious thing. Now everybody goes for the ride share. The taxis are the way to go. That's Rank's little pro tip in case we ever get back. But there's a buzz building, and some big names could be moved already. We've seen some huge names move. Matthew Stafford was dealt. Some other A-listers and Jared Goff, Carson Wentz. Some big names already moving. And you know what? And now, it feels like, I never believed Ted DiBiase when I was a child. But it appears everybody has a price, and it seems like anybody in the NFL can be traded. Now, maybe not Patrick Mahomes. Maybe not Russell Wilson. I mean, I think it's cute that Russell Wilson thinks he's going to be dealt, but he's not going to be. Deshaun Watson, I would even put him in a list of guys that you can't trade. The Texans have tried for years to find a quarterback. And now you would walk away that you find Deshaun Watson just because his feelings are hurt a little bit? No. You find a way to make that work. So I think those three guys are untradeable. Maybe George Kittle, the Bosa brothers, Tristan Wirfs, Devin Wright. Okay, listen. There are some players that can't be traded. But still, there are some big names who could be on the move. Let's talk about them right now and talk about some guys who could be on the way out the door, should be. You know what I'm saying? By the way, Aaron Donald, also another guy I would put on that list of players who should not be traded. I think that anybody who watched that playoff game with the Los Angeles Rams and Green Bay Packers know full well that if Aaron Donald had been healthy, the Rams would have won that game, even with their backup quarterback, Jared Goff. And by the way, if you listen to the intro, if you're listening to the Adam Rank podcast, and I was talking about numbers, I should have included Matthew Stafford. Like, everybody just assumes that he's going to come in there and wear number 9, and poor Johnny Dubs wore number 9, the current starting quarterback for the Rams. In any event, let's talk about some big names that could be moved. And I'm going to start off number 1 with the one that seems outrageous. Because last year I had Christian McCaffrey as a player who could not be traded. How devastating it would be for the Carolina Panthers, but it would make a lot of sense for them to move on from CMC. It really would. I know, like we got a glimpse of what the Panthers offense would look like without him. And I know that Mike Davis went out there and had some good fantasy performances. And obviously the Panthers are a lot better with him, but what is his window? What is Christian McCaffrey's window for effectiveness? He's going to turn 25 this year. He'll be 26 next season. If you look to a comparable running back for him, it would probably be LaDainian Tomlinson. I think their games are pretty similar. LaDainian Tomlinson was very effective years 25, 26, 27. But still, you're kind of wasting his career with a rebuilding effort because there is a buzz that Carolina could be moving on from Teddy Bridgewater already. They could move up in the draft. They could draft a quarterback where they're selecting right now, which means that they're probably not going to be very competitive this season. Next year might even be a reach unless their quarterback comes out and has a season like Patrick Mahomes, which I just don't anticipate no matter who it is. So it seems like the best thing for Christian McCaffrey would be for him to go to a winner, a team that has an opportunity right now to go and win a Super Bowl. Now, obviously, every time you do this, you're going to be like, well, what about the Chiefs? Like, yeah, they're not going to the Chiefs. But I think, like, Seattle would make a lot of sense. They're looking for a running back. They would rather run the football. The only problem with the Seahawks is that, number one, they're first round pick for next season is already the property of the New York Jets because of the Jamal Adams trade. So it doesn't seem like, I don't know how you would pull that trade off. I don't know how far into the future you could start trading first round picks, but Seattle seems like a pretty good destination. Buffalo, a team that not only would benefit from having Christian McCaffrey running the football, but also as a receiver out of the backfield. And of course, the Bills fans are already pissed. I don't know why listen, Bills fans. First of all, I was the guy who helped get the blue meanie to make those BWO shirts for you. Now, I know I'm not wearing an ACW shirt right now. I've got a throwback, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, which I don't think that would appreciate me wearing because he doesn't wear Bullet Club stuff anymore. I don't know. Maybe he joins the Bullet Club again. There's that crossover with AEW. But Bill fans are like, that's stupid. Like, of course, like I forgot. You guys know everything. Like, who wouldn't want this guy? And I know, like, salary cap or anything like that, scheme fit, anything, maybe not perfect, but Bills, I'm telling you right now, do not rest on getting to the AFC Championship game. A couple of years ago, the Jags got to the AFC Championship game. How have they been over the last couple of years? Now, obviously, your quarterback situation is a lot better, but it would be ridiculous to just be like, we're good. We don't need anybody. Rank's never right, except, most of the time. But whatever. In any event, I think that it's time for Christian McCaffrey to be moved. I want to see him go to a good team. Listen, these guys, I think if there's a league, now this happens in the NBA a lot with these super teams. If there is a league that should be more super team-like, it should be the NFL, where the playing careers are so much shorter. I would love to see teams like what the Buccaneers did this year. So I think that Christian McCaffrey should be on the move. Don't at me. Anyways, number 2. Let's stick. You know what's funny is that most of these are coming from the NFC South. But let's talk about Julio Jones. It seems like a big name receiver gets dealt every summer. You know what I'm saying? Like big name receivers get dealt like Fast and the Furious movies are made. Like every year there's a new one. Hey, it's a new blockbuster. This year The Rock's in it and it's Vin Diesel. And every year a receiver is on the move. This year it should be Julio Jones. And I think that we've already gotten a taste of what life in Atlanta would be like without Julio Jones this season. He played 9 games. The Falcons have a new head coach, Arthur Smith, and it would just make sense for them to start going into full rebuild mode, which means that not only should Julio be moved, Matt Ryan should also be a candidate to be moved as well. I mean, you should go out. The Falcons are in a position to draft a quarterback, but it's time to look at their quarterback of the future. And it's time to look at their wide receiver of the future. And if you can get something for him, why would you not move Julio Jones right now? And I know you might think, well, you got Calvin Ridley, and Calvin Ridley benefited from Julio being there, which is true, but Ridley had at least 90 yards in 6 of the 8 games that he played without Julio last year. So Calvin Ridley can go out there and do it on his own. And the Falcons did a really nice job of just finding these receivers who came out and played their parts. And I think Hayden Hurst being there, they actually need a running back as well to kind of shore up the running game. In addition to that, I think they need to be in the rebuild mode. And if I'm a team like the Las Vegas Raiders, who could use a short-term infusion, I think that would be a pretty good option for them. I think the Raiders, if you could get Julio Jones, and I know a lot of people this will be, especially when we get to the next name, we'll be talking about salary. The salary cap doesn't exist. Can we just say that? Like, oh, we don't have the cap space. Like, shut up. Like when the Packers end up signing J.J. Watt, for instance, and people are like, oh, they don't have everybody has the cap space. You have cap space. It's a myth. The salary cap is there, but it's kind of a myth. It's kind of a crutch. It's like my children. Like how I would get out of doing stuff pre-pandemic, of course, because of my children. Like somebody like, hey, do you want to go do this, do that? Like, you know what? I got the kids. I got the kids. But you know what? It's amazing how you can move heaven and earth to, to change things if the offer is tempting enough. If my buddy wants me to go to the local tap room on a Tuesday night, I got the kids. Can't do it. Oh, you got floor seats to go see Blink 182? Yeah, suddenly I will find a sitter for my children. You know what I'm saying? I think cap space is the same way. When you need it, when you need it to justify not signing a player, it's perfect. But otherwise, you do it. And of course, this is a situation where Julio Jones, moving him makes a lot more sense after June 1st. So I will say, don't expect this to happen immediately. And I think it gives the Raiders an opportunity. They'll have to deal a 2022 pick, but I think it makes a lot of sense for them. And they can go in a number of different directions in the draft. Also, another receiver from the NFC South, Michael Thomas. I think it's time for the Saints to move on from him. And I know that last year, they got a taste of what life would be like without Michael Thomas, where he struggled, had one of the worst seasons of his career. The Saints still went to the playoffs. And I don't even think this is a thing, too, where it's like, well, they're going to have a new quarterback, because I think Jameis Winston would love to throw the ball to Michael Thomas. Taysom Hill was actually pretty good at getting the ball to Michael Thomas. And, Thomas had at least, I'm looking at this. Thomas had at least 84 receiving yards in 3 of his 4 starts when Taysom Hill was the starting quarterback. So I don't think that's an issue as well. But there were times last year where Michael Thomas and the Saints seemed like that couple that's being passive aggressive. Like you're hanging out with them and they're passive aggressively going after each other. And you're like, ew, this is getting awkward. And maybe it's time for Michael Thomas to find a new situation. And I'm not saying that he's a bad player. I'm not saying that he's lacking juice or anything like that. But I think that maybe the Saints would be, you might be better off. You might be happier. You might think you're happy, but you might be better off without him. And if you could send him to a team like the Baltimore Ravens, obviously the best team to go to would be the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he could go and be reunited with his former college coach, Urban Meyer. I think that would be a pretty nice option for him. But at the same time, you gotta trade him post June 1st. It makes more sense salary cap wise. And I know people, you don't even understand. I know it's not going to be perfect, and it's not going to save them ultimately in the next couple of years a ton of money. But at some point, you're going to free yourself from that contract. If you do it after June 1st, it makes a lot more sense. And don't come, do your research. Like, pal, I've done the research. Okay? You do it after June 1st. The problem is number one, for the Jags, who have 2 first-round picks this season, doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, you could send 2022 picks. Right now is when they could really make a move. But I think getting him there into Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence, with DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, wow, that becomes one of the best receiving cores in the NFL. If I'm the Jags, I try to make that move. Yeah, you got some 2022 picks to deal. Make that move. The Jets could also be in the mix for that as well. The Jets do have an additional pick in 2022 because of that deal for Jamal Adams. So they have an extra first-round pick. They also have Sam Darnold to deal as part of a package. If Sean Payton is kind of infatuated or would like to take a chance on Sam Darnold the way he did with Jameis Winston last year, then perhaps. I'm just saying, listen, it might be time to move on. This, again, I know it's your favorite player or whatever it is. Sometimes these guys just have to move on. In any event, let's talk, I do want to get a defensive player out there because I don't want this to come off as a fantasy thing, but I think Stephon Gilmore is also a player I would look at dealing. The hallmark of the Patriots franchise, don't be a smartass, but the hallmark, they get rid of guys before they lose their value. They are very good. They know when to cash out on players. Now, I might have stuck with Tom Brady this season, but whatever. But they still do a very good job. And it goes all the way back in their history. You look at guys like Richard Seymour. They are able to get rid of They moved on from him. So I think they do a very good job with stuff like that. I think Stephon Gilmore should be on the move. And a team like the Green Bay Packers, who will be mercifully, not for Bears fans, but will be losing Kenny King, I think that is a perfect opportunity to go out and shore up your defense and to show the world that, hey, maybe you care about winning after all. Perhaps you don't want to squander another year of Aaron Rodgers' career. Personally, don't do it. Not even as a football fan, because I don't care. But if the Packers are serious about winning, I would call the Patriots and see what you could get for Stephon Gilmore. Now, I know you probably want to go out there and draft the heir to Jordan Love this year. Maybe draft another running back. I don't know. I don't know what you want to do, Green Bay, because it appears you don't want to win. But if you cared about winning, I'd make a move for Stephon Gilmore. Can you imagine Jair and Gilmore? Like, I don't even want to breathe this into existence. Let me run your team. Like, I would have got you T. Higgins last year. I probably would have traded up for Brandon Ayuk. Wouldn't have let the 49ers get him. But whatever. Run your team. You guys know what you're doing. You want to lose in the NFC Championship game every year? Fine. Don't get Stephon Gilmore. And the fifth guy I want to talk about is Orlando Brown, tackle for the Baltimore Ravens. You know what's funny is the Bears are so worked up about who should be the next quarterback. And, well, they should be. You got to improve the quarterback position. I think the offensive line is almost as important. I mean, we saw what a trouble on the offensive line last year meant to the Packers in the NFC Championship game, or just in the playoffs in general. At the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes was under duress, although if his receivers could catch the damn football, that might not have been as big of an issue, but I think you got to shore up the offensive line. And if I'm the Bears, and as much as I'm thinking about my next quarterback, if I could get Orlando Brown on the team, I would love to do that. And this came to me through my Twitter mentions. I meant to put this in the story, and if you read this on NFL.com or anything like that, or saw me talking about it on NFL Network, the Chargers make a lot of sense here too. The Chargers should be doing whatever they can. The Chargers, the Bengals, doing whatever, and I just don't see Orlando Brown going within the division. And maybe the Ravens don't feel comfortable doing it in the conference, but the LA Chargers should be doing whatever they can to make sure, to see if it's possible to get Orlando Brown, another big name guy. He wants to play left tackle. He's expected to be on the move anyways. I kind of cheated on this one. Like, there's been speculation already that he could be on the move. So I would look at him. Also, I was on the Smoke Show with my boy Josh. We talked about, this is a bonus one, Amari Cooper. Like, if you're the Cowboys and you're looking to deal one of your wide receivers, and I think the obvious, people just think like, oh, Michael Gallup should be on the move. I think Amari Cooper should be the guy that you get rid of. He's the most marketable guy. He's the guy who could probably fetch the most in return. And the current offensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, was at one point the offensive coordinator for the Oakland Raiders when Amari Cooper was there. He was also the quarterback coach when Amari Cooper was there. So if you take somebody like Amari Cooper and you put him opposite of A.J. Brown, and you would have the meanest team with Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Amari Cooper. Like, that's like the New Day. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like a bunch of dudes who know how to play football and are rough and are, football-wise not friendly. Because Derrick Henry is actually a delight. I think A.J. Brown's a delightful person as well. I've spoken to Amari Cooper, very quiet, but mean on the field, like just football players. You know what I'm saying? Like, just solid football players. And I think that, of course, the fans in Tennessee would love that. So those are 6. I'll give you a bonus of guys who should be on the move this season. I did want to thank everybody for hanging out. Oh, my God. Odell, look at this. Oh, Sam and Zach and Markle. Oh, my gosh. Berlissimo. Oh, my gosh. McCaffrey on the Bills. Nice fit, right? Hey, thank you guys for hanging out here during the live stream. Thank you for checking this out on YouTube. By the way, if you don't know, there's the Adam Rank podcast. It's available on iHeart podcast. We're on Apple Pods and all that stuff. Big thanks. Starting to get a little crew here, and appreciate you hanging out with us. And until next week, we will see you later. Bye.